Killer taste, killer nutrition. Dave's Killer Bread. Bread amplified.
In 6 months, I'll make a duchess of this dragon-tailed guttersnipe.
I could have danced all night. I could have danced.
Rise. The Superior Court of Fulton County is now in session. The Honorable Chief Judge, your Glanville presiding. Come on. We'll do it when she walk in. All rise for her. Yeah. Where is she? Yeah, she's on. Okay. You know what? You know what? Don't believe it.
It's not my eye. Colors on the side.
In our groundbreaking study between
Superior Court of Fulton County now in session. Honorable Chief Judge, you're glad to presiding. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, again, good morning. We're going to go ahead and take roll at this point in time. We're back on the record in the matter of the state of Georgia versus Khalif Adams et al. In 22 SC 183572. Mr. Stilwell, Mr. Voss, and Mr. Shard. Good morning, gentlemen. All right, Mr. Williams, Mr. Steele, Mr. Adams, and Ms. Renard. Good morning, councils. Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Weinstein. Good morning. Mr. Hewitt, Mr. Matthews Sr. and Jr., good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Nichols and Mr. Garner, good morning. Mr. Ryan and Missy Williams, good morning. All right, Ms. Love, Ms. Hilton, Mr. Atkins, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Brown, good morning. Okay, so our name of all our jurors present? Yes, sir. Okay, sir, if we could summon our jurors, please. And where's Mr. Stevens? Is he outside? Okay, all right. We can go. Yeah, we can go ahead and get him seated, please. All right, Mr. Stevens, good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. All right, just to remind you, still on the oath, okay? All right, summon our jurors, please, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the jury, good morning. All right, without further delay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to continue with the presentation of the state's case and our current witness. Ms. Love, you may continue, madam. Or I should say, Mr. Steele, you may continue.
Morning, Your Honor. Thank you so much. So I'm going to show you what's already been admitted. It's State's Exhibit number 23UU. Go ahead, may I approach?
Yes, sir.
May I approach you, Mr. Stevens? You turn to, if you don't mind, over at number 155 in that document. Do you have the Zoom? Tell me if you need help finding it, okay?
Hey, I'm this 23 uniform.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you. Did you find that, sir?
Yeah.
Can you just do me a favor at the bottom of that page? What page number is that, just for the ladies and gentlemen who are following along?
Hit the 5.
Thank you. I'm going to show you what I'm marking as Mr. Williams number 20.
And that's what
You may, sir.
May I approach you, Mr. Stevens?
Yeah.
Would you do me a favor? Just make sure that that is an identical, you know what I mean, by just over that 155. Just make sure that they're the same.
I need to approach Mr.
Okay, come on. Mr. Steele, based on our conversations with Ms. Love, are you going to withdraw that exhibit?
I am going to withdraw it temporarily. I'm
Okay.
going to fix it. And yes,
That's fine, sir.
thank you.
Okay. All right. You may continue whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may, sir.
Mr. Stevens, I'm going to come back to Overt Act 155. I just have to amend something. Appeal Order 156. Tell me if it comports with what I've now marked. Mr. Williams, number 21 for today's date. And when I say comports, that's a bad word. Just tell me if it's identical, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm moving for the admission of Mr. Williams, number 21.
Any objection to Defendant Williams 21?
It is I don't object as it is from the indictment.
Okay. All right. Defendant Williams 21 is admitted and may be published as you see fit.
And Mr. Kokomo assist, Your Honor. Mr. Williams, you see on your screen, it should be next to you or behind you. Is that depict what is, or is that the same as what's in Mr. Williams number 21? What's on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. And this comes out of the indictment. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And you would charge in the same indictment, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. With regards to Overt Act 156, do you see it's the date of January 16, 2022 is alleged?
Yes.
And do you recognize the gentleman in that photograph?
Yes.
And who is that gentleman?
Jeffrey Williams.
Okay. And it states that an associate defendant, Jeffrey Williams, an associate of YSL, to appear in a video released on Mr. Williams, it says Williams, Instagram account, flashing of Blood's quote unquote gang sign, overt act, and furtherance of conspiracy. You see where that's written?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury whether you know, based upon your experience and your lifestyle, whether Mr. Williams is showing with his left hand a Blood's gang sign.
Tell him if I know or not.
Yeah.
Tell him if I know what he doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell him what it is.
He had a record out at the time called Pushing P. So he making a P in reference to the song.
Okay. And are you familiar with the video of that song? Songs sometimes come along with videos. Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know whether Mr. Williams, you already referenced the song? And what was the title of the song, if you know it?
Pushing P.
And do you know whether that song came out with a video?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to show you part of the video. Just make sure that it's the same video you remember, okay?
Yeah.
Your Honor, can I ask Mr. Kokomo to approach? It's a video, so it's not a still.
You may, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Stevens, can Mr. Kokomo come to you? You recognize that?
Yes.
Okay. And when Mr. Kokomo comes back, Your Honor, I'd like to display to the jurors what Mr. Stevens has just identified, and it will be marked on a thumb drive as Mr. Williams number 22.
Yeah, so that happens up front.
You didn't see it. Do you mind, Mr. Kokomo?
Okay. Listen.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams, number
22.
yes, sir.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. There is commentary on number 22, if in fact that's the video that was just shown to.
Commissary hearsay, or what is it?
Yes, it would be testimony being presented through counsel for Mr. Williams. I can just show the court.
Yeah, let me see it.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
It's being removed. It was just to show which exhibit we're talking about. It'll be removed.
As long as the commentary is removed, we don't have any objection. That's the whole video, the entire video, what he is about to show, be shown.
Do you have is there a redacted copy of that?
What he has on there is rejected.
Oh, it is. Okay. All right.
That's the whole video be shown.
See the whole thing?
Yeah, we have the whole video, Your Honor. I'm just showing the pertinent part, but if the state wants to show the whole video, that's fine.
We're objecting based on rule of completeness, so
No problem.
we'll just play all of it after you
Instant.
oriented your portion. So, Mr. Kokomo, if you just play the first portion that council wants you to play, then you can play the entirety of it, okay? Is that a yes? Okay, all right.
Sorry. Bye.
Yes, Mr. Stevens.
No. Nothing. Nothing, Your Honor.
Are you all okay? You have enough clothing, or you want me to? I make a phone call. I know a guy.
It's called.
Okay, all right. Let me make a phone call. Okay. All right. It's a little cold in here. Cheers. Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. Done. Okay. All right.
You ready? Your Honor, Mr. Kokomo's adjusting. Mr. Stevens, while Mr. doing that, may I just ask you a couple of questions with the court's permission? Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may, sir. I'm showing what I've marked as Mr. Williams number 8.
Your Honor, those exhibits not been published before they are tendered.
Number 9, okay, 10, and number 13. Can you just take a peek at them yourself? Tell me if you recognize them one at a time.
Yes, I recognize.
You recognize all those numbers, 8, 9, 10, 11? I think that's what I gave you.
No, you gave me 8, 9, 10, and 13.
Okay, thank you, sir. And do those photographs accurately depict a person that you know in that photograph?
Yes.
Your Honor, I will move for the admission of 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 once Mr.
I
Copeland.
don't have 11.
It's 8,
What did I
9,
say?
and 13 is what you've shown.
8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10, and
Your Honor, the state objects.
We'll start out with number 8. You have an objection to 8?
Yes, Your Honor, I made the code.
Okay.
Your Honor, as it relates to defendant's exhibit number 8, I would ask to
What's the basis for your objection?
no basis, no foundation. There was no question how to be recognized. I would like to show this to the court so that the court can fully understand.
All right, come on up. Mr. Steele, I'm going to sustain, consistent with my bench conversation, I'm going to sustain the objections. You can lay a little more foundation, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Your Honor, can we play what has been marked and admitted as Mr. Williams number
22?
22?
Yes, sir. You
And we can play the whole thing, but I was focused on, we'll play the whole thing, Mr. Kokomo, with the court's permission.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stevens, if this is not the video to the music, pushing P that you described, just let us know, okay? And then we're going to go back and look at specifics, times. You have the sound playing?
You have to share this thing. You know what I mean? I can assist. We're not doing this.
You can if you'd be so kind enough to do so, Miss Love. Come on up, Mr. Kokomo, with the computer. Gonna get you some technical help assistance.
And turn yours down.
Thank you, Mr. Kokomo. Mr. Stevens, do you know a person, an artist named Sergio Kitchens or a performer named Gunna?
Yes.
Is that the same person? Is Sergio Kitchens perform
Yes.
under the name Gunna?
Yes.
And did you see that gentleman, if you recognize that gentleman in this Mr. Williams number 22?
Yes.
Okay. Kokomo, can you take us to and just remind us of the exact time you're showing so the Honorable Court is aware and the parties and the jury?
About a pink Caterpillar Porsche. Pink Caterpillar Porsche.
Mr. Stevens, you recognize the person that Mr. Kokomo stopped the number at 149.54? Do you recognize who that is?
I know, yeah.
Who is it?
Jeff Williams.
Okay. And what Mr. Williams is doing with his hand, is that similar to what it's in the indictment count 1 overt act number 156 that we've shown you before?
Yes.
Okay. And that is a P, you said earlier, right?
Yes.
And did you realize, or do you know, that the song Pushing P and the video were released shortly around January 16, 2022?
I didn't realize that, but
So objection, Your Honor, as to the knowledge and speculation.
I sustain the objection.
If I showed you something to refresh your memory, would that, do you know when it first came out? Are you familiar when that video and song first came out and was released?
I know exactly when it came out, but just not the exact date though. I remember the timing. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, can you describe the time?
I didn't see no date, but dang.
You know whether it was around the date that's listed in the indictment that's in front of you? And if you don't know, you say, I don't know. It's fine. We'll do it.
I don't know.
Fine. Okay. But that's certainly not a blood sign in the indictment. Am I correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, with regards to when Mr. Williams, when you knew him, when he was starting out to try to become an accomplished musical artist, accomplished means like a.
Objection as to compound.
I sustain the question.
When, let me ask you a different way. When you knew Mr. Williams, when he first started out trying to become a professional musical artist, okay? I want you to lock in on that time, okay? Is that okay? Did social media and followers have any, if you know, have any type of significance to Mr. Williams to get out there?
Objection as to speculation, and it would call for self-serving hearsay.
I sustain the objection. You
None.
can rephrase Mr. Steele or lay a little more foundation.
I don't want you to say anything Mr. Williams said. Do you know whether Mr. Williams used social media to try to broadcast his music?
Objection again as to speculation.
Well, let's see. Let's see if he knows, and then I'll rule on the objection. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And
All right, I'm gonna rule the objection.
And with regards to social media, was it more than music? If you noticed, did Mr. Williams also put out videos of himself?
Yes.
And did he also communicate to people to try to get their attention and to have followers?
Objection to the mindset.
I sustain the question.
Did Mr. Williams, don't tell me anything about mindset, did he put out also statements on social media to try to get fans?
Objection as to
I
trust.
sustain the question.
Did he put out statements on social media?
Yes.
And did he do all that under the moniker or Brandon Young Thug?
Yes.
And if you know, was Mr. Williams trying to portray a certain type of image on social media?
Objection as to mindset.
I sustain the question.
Do you know if Mr. Williams portrayed a certain image as to himself on social media?
Objection.
I sustain the question.
Did Mr. Williams put forth a gangster rap image on social media?
Yes.
And do you know whether Mr. Williams had a lot of followers when he did that. Followers on Instagram.
Objection calls for speculation.
I stand.
Did he know? You ever see Mr. Williams' social media accounts?
Yes.
Okay. And do those social media accounts show how many people are following?
Yes.
And did Mr. Williams, from this conduct, from this entertainment, did it have a lot of people following him?
Objection as to compound and.
I stand the question as to form.
Did he have a lot of followers?
Yes.
And were the followers building over time?
Yes.
And did you notice that it was increasing a large amount? Did you notice?
Yeah.
And did it eventually get to the point that Mr. Williams had millions of followers?
Yes.
You know how many millions at any given time?
I know millions though.
I couldn't hear you.
I don't know the exact millions, but I know it's millions.
Now, was there a time that you were mad at Mr. Williams for the content of his song?
And the content of the song.
The lyrics that he used.
Yes.
Tell ladies and gentlemen why.
Because I knew that he was teasing me.
Tell him what you mean by that.
He made a song and he referred to me as robbing women. At that time, the whole neighborhood was poking fun at me for being accused of robbing women because they knew that.
Objection as to what the neighborhood.
I stand the question.
They knew what I was known for, which was
I stand. You can't answer the question.
Don't, Mr. Stevens, don't say what other people were thinking. Just say what you were thinking. Why were you mad at Mr. Williams?
But even putting that in the song, knowing that it was false.
And did Mr. Williams, were you also mad at him because you believed in other lyrics he was describing things that you did, but taking credit for it?
Yeah.
And why did that bother you?
Your Honor, I object to generalization.
I stand the question as to form, Mr. Steele. You can rephrase it.
Mr. Stevens, why did it bother you? Why were you mad at Mr. Williams for using lyrics about your life as if he did?
An objection as to what lyrics specificity.
I stand as to form.
It could be any. You ever get mad at Mr. Williams because he was taking credit for things that you know you did in his lyrics?
I felt the way.
I couldn't.
I felt a certain type of way. I had a feeling about it.
Your Honor, I object to non-responsive. You don't know.
I stand. Just rephrase or redirect him or refocus him. I should say, Mr. Steele.
Instead of saying you felt a certain type of way, can you be more specific with that, Mr. Stevens? Why you were mad at Mr. Williams?
I did. I said I felt a certain type of way. I really can't put. say probably jealousy. He felt, probably jealousy because I knew it was something I could have been rapping about and potentially making money of it.
Now, if you know, is it a competitive business to be, to try to get fans on social media and followers in rap songs? If you know.
No, I'm not in the business.
I couldn't hear. You're not in the business?
I don't know. Yeah.
That's fine. All right. Do you remember Jeffrey wearing really tight pants before they were popular?
Yes.
And based upon Jeffrey's popularity growing and this fashion that he wore, did other people start wearing really tight pants?
Objection, compound speculation.
A sustained objection.
Did people follow Jeffrey's lead, if you know, to wear tight pants?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Did people wear tight pants after Jeffrey?
General, overbroad, irrelevant.
I sustain the question.
Did you notice that after Jeffrey started wearing tight pants, other people in your neighborhood wore tight pants?
Yes, it became a trend.
Couldn't hear you.
Yes, it became a trend.
Trend? How about tight necklace around the neck? Did Jeffrey start that as well?
So our neighborhood or
Anyway, did you notice that he started to wear tight necklaces?
I noticed his stuff started getting tight. Yes.
And did you notice that other people again follow that trend?
Objection, speculation.
I sustain the question.
Yes, if you noticed.
Whether other people
This is not
Whether other people, that's speculation.
Did you notice other people wearing tight necklaces after Jeffrey started them?
I noticed other people's things starting to get tight too.
It would be fair to say that Jeffrey was being watched and he became a trendsetter, to use your word.
Objection, compound, and speculation.
I sustain the question.
Do you know whether people followed what Jeffrey was wearing, singing about?
Objection, speculation.
Sustain.
Did people start dressing like Jeffrey?
Objection, speculation.
You might want to just ask a question before that. So,
Do you know whether after Jeffrey started to wear certain fashion, other people started to? Do you know?
I don't know exactly why they did it, but I started seeing similarities in what he was doing and what other people were doing.
And when you first met Jeffrey in 2007, years, like you said before, what was he called? What was the typical name that you called him and people called him?
Little Jeff.
And do you know what his father's name is?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen the jury.
Big Jeff.
Now, talk about Jeffrey wearing tight jeans. Do you know, don't speculate, do you know whether Jeffrey got any criticism? That means, did people go against him for wearing tight jeans, if you know?
Yes.
And tell us about that. What did people do? You're aware.
I'm aware that they was accusing him of being gay.
A homosexual?
Yes.
And did that help, if you know, Jeffrey's popularity?
Objection, speculation.
If you
I
know.
sustain the question. Well, let me Let's see if he can answer the predicate. So you can ask him that again.
You can answer.
Oh, my bad. You can say it again. All the objections still on.
No, it's my fault. It's not your fault. You ready? There's nothing to. You ready? The question is, if you know, did being called gay affect Jeffrey's popularity on social media?
Your Honor, I object to that.
That's a different question. I'm gonna sustain that though.
Did being called gay affect Jeffrey's popularity at all?
Objection, Your Honor, as to,
I sustain it.
If you know.
Your Honor, he can't fix it with agitation.
Yeah, I'm gonna sustain the question.
Okay. Now, did you know that Jeffrey, besides music, branched out into fashion as a business?
Yes.
And do you know Spider? You know this Spider brand?
Yes.
What is Spider brand?
A brand, a clothing brand.
And whose clothing brand is it?
Jeff Williams.
I'm going to show you what has been previously marked and shown to you. Mr. Williams, number 9. Then we're going to number 10. You already took a peek at that. Remember looking at Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
On Mr. Williams, number 9, do you recognize who's in that picture?
Yes.
And do you recognize the clothing shown in that picture?
Yes.
And do you recognize the color of that clothing?
Yes.
And does it fairly and accurately depict the clothing and the person who's wearing it in that picture, number 9, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
I'll move for the admission of number 9.
Any further objection to defendant's 9?
No, Your Honor, that's not.
Defendant's 9 is admitted and may be published as you see fit, sir.
It should be on the screen, but it's right in front of you, Mr. Stevens. Who is that gentleman in Mr. Williams, number 9?
Jeffrey Williams.
And is he wearing what I call a hooded sweatshirt?
Yes.
And can you see the type or brand on that sweatshirt?
Yes.
What brand or type is that?
Spider brand.
And then who owns Spider brand, to your knowledge?
Jeff Williams.
Okay. And what color is that hooded Spider brand sweatshirt?
Blue with white words. And
then do you notice a jacket on top of the hooded sweatshirt?
Yes.
And what color is that jacket?
Blue.
Do you notice pants being worn by Mr. Williams in number 9?
Yes.
And what brand is that?
Spider clothing brand.
Same owner of that brand?
Yes.
And what color?
Blue with white words.
And then the shoes. You see shoes?
Yes.
And do you know what type of shoes they are? And if you don't, that's fine. Yes and no.
No, I don't.
Okay. And the laces appear to be what color on the right foot?
Red.
And how about the left foot?
Blue.
I'd like you to look at Mr. Williams' number 10 that should be in front of you. I think I gave that to you. It might be underneath number 9.
Oh, no, that's the tongue.
One more
The
time.
lace is blue on both ones. That look like that's the tongue.
Okay. It's the tongue is red.
Oh, yeah, I answer to the best of my ability.
That's fine. That's fine. Do you see Mr. Williams' number 10? It may be under number 9.
Yes.
Never seen that before?
Yes.
And there are two gentlemen in that picture. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recognize both of those gentlemen?
Yes.
And is that picture depicted in number 10 of Mr. Williams fair and accurate depiction of both of those people?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of number 10.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. You have any further objection to defendant's 10?
Here, Mr. Tim, for the commission.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Stevens.
No.
Were you present when that picture was taken, defense exhibit number 10?
No.
Do you recognize the area that that picture was taken in?
No.
Can you say with certainty whether that picture accurately describes or accurately reflects whatever was present in that area at the time that the picture was taken?
Can I say that? Well, no.
Your Honor, state objects to number 10.
Foundation?
He has no basis.
Foundation?
Yes.
All right. Still anything else?
That would go to weight, Your Honor, not the admissibility.
I'm going to sustain the state's objection at this time.
Okay. All right. Did I give you number 11, if you could look at that? And it might be 13.
I only have 9 and 10.
Okay. Your Honor, may I approach?
You may, sir.
Okay.
Let me show you this. You recognize what I showed you before as Mr. Williams' number 13.
Yes.
And do you recognize any of the people shown in Mr. Williams 13?
Yes.
Do you recognize both those people?
Yes.
And does the photograph accurately show the way those two people looked?
Yes.
And were you present when that image was taken?
No.
Have you seen that image before?
Yes.
Okay. And is that what now is Mr. Williams 13 accurate the way you've seen it before?
Yes.
And where have you seen it before?
Social media.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams, number 13.
Any objection to defendant's 13? Defendant Williams 13, I should say.
I'd ask to voir dire the witness.
All right. Can I see 13, please? You got 13 in front of you, young man? Okay, here you go. All right, go ahead, Ms. Love.
Mr. Stevens, as to defendants 13, Mr. Steele asked you where or whether you've seen that photograph before, and you said on social media.
Yes.
Did you place that photo on social media?
No.
Do you know anything about the time that that photograph was taken?
No.
Do you know anything about the surroundings in that photograph?
No.
Do you know anything about whether that photograph accurately reflects what was in the camera range at the time the photograph was taken? In other words, do you know whether or not that photograph accurately reflects the surroundings that those people are in at the time the photograph was taken?
No.
Is the only basis for your saying you recognize that photograph that you've seen it on social media?
Yes.
And is your knowledge of the photographs that you saw on social media any greater than your knowledge of the photograph as it sits before you today?
I seen it on social media.
Your Honor, based on that, as through this witness, I would object to that photograph.
I'm going to overrule the objection, madam.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to admit it. P13 may be published as you see fit.
On the screen is Mr. Williams' number 13. Can you make that bigger without making it unreadable? Mr. Kokomo? Mr. Stevens, can you see the screen and and it's in front of you as well, and describe to the jurors and tell them by what people are wearing who is seen in that photograph, please?
Jeffrey Williams got on blue shirt, blue pants, and this nut. He got on a white shirt with plaid shorts.
And you use the name Nut. N-U-T, does that sound right?
Yes.
And do you, by any chance, if you don't, that's fine, know what Nut's government given means?
Yes.
Can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, jury?
Donovan Thomas.
And by looking at, if you know, Mr. Williams' number 13, who posted this photograph, Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas, Donovan Thomas, on social media?
Do I know who posted it?
Yeah. Do you know whose Instagram account it was?
Yes. Nut.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, who Instagram account posted it?
Nut.
And for some people who may not know, can you explain what it means by posting on your social media account? What does that mean?
Uploading an image from your phone to the internet.
Okay. And at the top, you see where it says big business underscore ENT underscore nut?
Yes.
Do you recognize that as somebody's social media handle?
Yes.
Whose social media handle is that?
Nut.
And then, Mr. Kokomo, if you don't mind just scrolling to the bottom. If you know, you see where it says in the first line 444 likes, you see that?
Yes.
If you don't know, just say I'm not sure. What does it mean with the number 444 and the word likes next on social media?
That 444 people liked the picture.
And then underneath that, again, it says big business underscore ENT underscore nut. And then it's written me and little bro. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And then it has an ampersand, thugger 1. Booling at big homie. At Birdman with a 5-star kind of. Pound 25 million, sky the limit. You see all that?
Yes.
And I'm in the race, blood love. See all that?
Yes.
And whose social media account wrote that? I know you don't know who wrote it, but whose social media account is that attributable to?
Nuts.
Okay. And what date was that posted?
May 26, 2014.
Were you aware whether Mr. Thomas and Mr. Jeffrey Williams were friends?
Your Honor, I'd ask for clarity, vague.
I stand the question. You can rephrase it, sir.
Time frame.
To your knowledge, was Mr. Thomas, Donovan Thomas, and Mr. Williams friends?
Time frame, Your Honor, vague.
I stand the question. Just rephrase it.
Before the death, Where were you? If you remember, I know dates are not good. Do you remember where you were at the end of 2014, beginning of 2000, let's say January 2015, if you know?
In 2014.
If you don't know, it's fine.
Yeah. Jail.
You were in custody?
Yes.
In jail?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that for the end of 2014 going to beginning of 2015?
Yes.
But you're clearly out in some point of early 2015 because you told the jury about being sent home from the rodeo tour. You remember that?
Yes.
And you were clearly out on your birthday in 2015, April 26th.
Yes.
Is that true? Okay. All right. At the time that you were in custody, put in custody in 2014, do you remember when that was? And if you don't, that's fine.
At the time when I was in custody?
Yeah, were you in custody the end of 2014 going into beginning of 2015? If you know. And if you don't know, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do you remember approximately when you were arrested and put in custody in 2014?
Yes.
Approximately when was it?
I think that's the date we've been just going over. October 14, October 2014. I don't know the exact date.
That's fine. And that's what's shown days ago with that allegation.
Right.
When you were arrested.
That's how I remember. Yeah.
Okay. So let's use that as the date. At that time, October 2014, do you know whether Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas were friends?
Objection, Your Honor, as to vagueness. Same objection.
Let's see if he knows. I'll consider the objection based on the next response.
If you know.
Yes.
Were they friends?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move the objection.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this May 26, 2014, who is referring to who? So you tell us the speakers as Little Bro. Who is Little Bro as you read that on social media?
Jeff.
Okay. And who is calling Jeffrey Little Bro?
Nut.
All right. I want to talk with you. Thank you, sir. I want to talk with you about April 26, 2015, your birthday, okay? Prosecutor was asking you these questions on that day, and you remember going into the compound to see an entertainer that you really liked. Remember you talked about paying $500, et cetera?
Yes.
Okay, that's the day I'm talking about. Are you aware at some point that the tour bus of Lil Wayne was supposedly shot?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury what information you have at all that Jeffrey Williams was in any way involved with the shooting of that tour bus.
Any at all?
Your Honor,
You have an objection, madam?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Can you answer the question, sir? I don't have any information at all.
Okay. Now, you've been to concerts, musical concerts, fair to say?
Yes.
Have you ever been to a sporting event, Hawks game, something like that?
I've been to a sporting event. Yes.
And at the sporting event that you went to, were they selling, you call it merchandise? Were people selling merchandise, if you remember?
I know that they sell merchandise there.
Okay. When you were shown earlier a red hat and it said Bompton, Bompton, you remember seeing that video or the photograph rather?
Yes.
Was that being sold at a show?
Yes.
And do people make money off of that?
Yes.
And do you know whether any YSL merchandise or merch is sold at shows?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. And do you know whether people can buy YSL merchandise over the internet?
Yes.
And do you know whether people can buy Spider merchandise over the internet?
Yes.
And is all this a business?
Yes.
Do you know, if you know, does Jeffrey Williams have a record label, YSL?
Yes.
And does he promote his records, albums, music, mixtapes, whatever it is, through YSL?
Yes.
If you know, and if you don't know, you say, I don't know. Has that record label also been bought by a publicly traded company?
Objection about basis.
If he knows.
I'll overrule the objection now.
I don't know somebody about it.
You don't know, you know.
No.
That's fine. All right. Okay. Are you aware that Jeffrey also performs with people, with other people in music?
Yes.
And do you know some of the artists that Jeffrey has performed with? And if yes, tell the jury.
Yes.
Objection as to relevance.
Steele?
Goes to what Jeffrey Williams does, Your Honor, for his living, not a member of
I'll sustain him. I sustain. I'm going to overrule the objection. He can testify that if he knows.
Yeah. Post Malone.
Okay. And what type of music is Post Malone known for?
Rock and roll. Different. I don't know what kind of artist it is. I said that because that one I like.
That's fine.
One I like.
Do you know whether Mr. Williams has ever done work with, an artist named Rihanna?
Yes.
Okay. Elton John?
Yes.
Has Mr. Williams, to your knowledge, does he have a song out with Elton John?
Yes.
Is it a popular song, if you know?
Yes.
You know the name of that song?
Yes.
What is it?
Hi.
Okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has done work with an artist, if you know the artist, Ed Sheeran?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the line of questioning regarding how many or who all Mr. Williams has done work with. If it was to establish that he is a rapper, no one disputes that.
I'm going to overrule the objection.
Oh. What? My bad.
That's okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has done music with an artist, a musical artist named Ed Sheeran?
Yes.
How about, do you know an artist named Drake?
Yes.
Do you know if Mr. Williams has done music with Drake?
Yes.
How about, except not just rap music, do you know whether Mr. Williams also does popular music?
Yes.
How about African beats?
Yeah, country.
Okay, country. And did Mr. Williams, to your knowledge, have a gigantic country hit?
Yes.
How about Latin music?
I know it's several different genres.
Okay. Do you know whether Mr. Williams has performed in almost every continent in the world?
Yeah.
Do you know whether he's performed in front of over 300,000 people as a headliner?
Objection, Your Honor.
I sustain the question.
When Jeffrey Williams, you were asked a series of questions on direct examination, that means when the prosecutor was asking you questions about whether the conduct of YSL and its associates and members enhanced the notoriety, the respect, the reputation. Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury how crime on Cleveland Avenue committed by YSLU or its members helped Jeffrey Williams, when you answer those questions, get respect, reputation, image, notoriety, street credibility. Tell them.
Objection as to relevance and objection as to the court.
I understand the question.
Your Honor, this goes directly to questions asked on direct examination.
Doesn't make them so objectionable, though. So I'm going to sustain the objection at this point in time.
Tell the jury, from being a member of YSL, that's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Tell the jury how Jeffrey Williams benefits from YSL or from the street gang.
Ain't got no benefit.
I
I don't feel like he benefit. He don't benefit.
Now, earlier you went through in the indictment with me, you were kind enough, when it was, y'all just saw bringing in money, remember 24 M's on an N, remember that? And I know what you testified to, the jurors will remember. But why, explain to jurors, why would Jeffrey Williams need money from you or anybody else living on Cleveland Avenue? I'm not trying to insult anybody. Just answer that question if you don't mind.
Objection as to speculation.
I sustain the question.
Do you ever give Jeffrey Williams any money?
No.
Money is a hard commodity to get for you, isn't it?
Yes.
And for many people on Cleveland Avenue. Is that fair to say?
Objection,
I
speculation.
sustain the question.
Wait, my turn? Oh,
There's,
my bad.
there's no question.
Oh, my bad.
Goes to you, sir.
Now, when you talked about being upset with Quentin Porter, who, remember, and you wanted to separate from Rockford, you remember that?
Yeah.
You want to separate from him, Mr. Quentin Porter, right?
Yes.
And Jeffrey took on the YSL as his record label to sing about. Is that true?
Yeah.
As Jeffrey's popularity grew, did a lot of people in the neighborhood start singing and saying we're YSL?
Yes.
Was there any rule to get into YSL?
No.
Could Jeffrey, to your knowledge, stop somebody from saying, I'm YSL?
No.
Could Jeffrey stop someone from putting a tattoo on their face, their arm, their...
Objection as to speculation and compound.
I sustain the question.
Do you know whether Jeffrey could stop someone from putting a tattoo on their body?
Objection as to speculation.
Still speculation, Mr. Steele. I sustain the objection.
Could he stop you from putting a tattoo on your body?
No.
And you said earlier that people were copying, this is my word, Jeffrey, I think your word was, he was trending or something like that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And he was clearly now singing about YSL, right?
Yeah.
He was clearly wearing certain clothing a certain way, right?
Yes.
And he was clearly being followed by others, true?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, as to speculation.
I sustain the last question of speculation.
Do you know from social media, people outside of Cleveland Avenue starting to dress like Jeffrey? If you know from social media.
Objection as to why they would be dressing. Speculation.
Let's see if he knows he has any basis. Can you answer that question?
Can you say it again? My bad. When I don't do that, I lose my train of thought. My bad.
That is not your bad. That is Mr. Stevens. And on social media, did you recognize people dressing like Jeffrey as his popularity grew?
Yes.
And that's outside of Cleveland Avenue, right?
Yes.
And do you know from social media, people outside of Cleveland Avenue, outside of our country, tattooing YSL on their bodies?
Yes.
And putting Jeffrey's face tattooed on their calves?
Yes.
On their stomachs?
Yes. I met a girl, she had it on her arm.
I couldn't hear you.
I said I met a girl, she had it on her arm.
She had Jeffrey's image of his face on her arm?
Yeah.
And also have Jeffrey's lyrics on their bodies?
I don't think I've seen no lyric, but it's possible. So.
No, that's fine. And also have YSL tattooed on their bodies from the internet?
Yes.
Jeffrey became wildly popular, right?
Yes.
And from your area that you grew up in and that he was there a short period of time?
Yeah.
Who else from that area is that popular?
Nobody.
Would you describe the fact that Jeffrey's efforts and talent, that's all right, created a brand? Do you know what I mean by brand? Something marketable that people liked.
Objection, speculation.
I sustain the objection.
Well, did you like it? I know you're jealous, you said of Jeffrey at times, but were you proud of him?
Yes.
He did something. Were you shocked at what he did? From where he came from?
Objection.
Amazing.
I sustain the question as form. Rephrase, Mr. Steele.
Okay. How would you describe, in your own words, how you feel about the fact where Jeffrey, you know where he came from to where he grew? Did you ever think that was possible?
I feel like anything possible, but yeah, it was amazing to me.
To your knowledge, do you know whether people say that they know Jeffrey who really don't know him?
Objection, speculation.
I sustain the question.
Have you ever been in a situation where you knew that someone did not know Jeffrey, but they claimed to be able to contact him?
Objection, foundation, and
I
speculation.
sustain the question.
Now, Jeffrey, you said, gave opportunities to you and others. Fair to say?
Yes.
And although he wouldn't give anyone money, would Jeffrey be free to open his house to others?
Yes.
And if they need a place to stay, could they come to his home?
Yeah, if you knew you, yeah.
If he knew you.
Yeah.
And how about vehicles? If somebody needed a vehicle, to your knowledge, would Jeffrey let people drive cars that he had?
Yes.
Tell ladies and gentlemen, jury, if you know about how people can get cars if they know Jeffrey in his home.
Can I speak from my experience?
Yes.
The drawer in his house with all the keys, and you just, I don't even ask. I just grab them.
And what type of cars are we talking about? I know they change over time. Just give me an example. the type of cars we're talking
Can I
about.
speak from my experience?
Sure.
I've driven Rolls Royce truck, Bentley truck, Jeep truck. Yeah, I've driven a lot of them.
And from your experience and knowledge, would Jeffrey rent cars for other people if they needed a car
Yeah,
in his own name?
yeah.
And did other people, including yourself, at times, were you able to rent a car? Did you have a credit card?
No.
But Jeffrey would do that for you and others?
Yes.
And would he ask any questions about where you would take in the Bentley Jeep, or was it just, here you go?
Sometimes I didn't even know I was gone.
Same with rental cars?
Yeah.
Now, to get to the rodeo tour, I know you were sent home. Is it fair to say you were sent home by plane?
Yes.
To get out to the rodeo tour, were you taking a tour bus? When I say you, did Jeffries have a tour bus? And if you don't remember, say I don't.
No, I don't remember how I got there. No, I ain't take tour bus.
How about from city to city?
Yeah, that was super. Yeah.
And if you were aware, was Jeffrey sleeping on the walkway of the tour bus to let other people sleep in the beds?
Yeah. Everybody just fall asleep anyway, wherever you can.
Couldn't hear you, I apologize.
You just fall asleep wherever you got space to fall asleep.
And did Jeffrey make it known that he wanted to show people there is life outside of Cleveland Avenue?
Objection, Your Honor.
I sustain the question.
Was this the first time that you really ever, except for jails and custody, I'm excluding that. Was this really the first time, because of Jeffrey Williams, that you and others ever left the area that you grew up in, born in?
Objection as to others.
I sustain the question.
If he knows.
As to form.
Just talk about yourself.
I went up, I ain't leave out 285 for him.
And how about private planes, airplanes? Do you know whether Jeffrey would take private planes to travel?
Yes.
And would he allow other people to see what it's like to fly?
Yes.
And these are all new experiences.
Yes.
And would you ever experience the fact that there's life outside of Cleveland Avenue?
Objection.
Kind of vague. I'll sustain the question as to form, Mr. Steele. Before you pose the next question, ladies and gentlemen, how about a comfort break? All right. Mr. Steele, we're going to, and ladies and gentlemen, jury, we're going to take 10 minutes and then we'll come back and I'll kind of give you the plan for the afternoon, okay? All right. 10 minutes. Remember my admonitions to you. Mr. Stevens, you can take your 10-minute break, please. All rise for our jury, please.
Hey, that one.
Free fuck, mistrial. Free fuck, mistrial.
All right. Mr. Stevens, you can take it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and take our comfort break at this point in time. We'll be back in 10 minutes. We're in recess.
Free fuck, mistrial. Free fuck, mistrial.
All right, councils, we're going to go ahead and summon our jurors at this point in time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're probably wondering, well, what's the deal we're going to eat? We're going to go to about 1:30, and then that'll be the conclusion of today, okay? So, and then I'll give you more instructions, all right? So, Mr. Steele, you can continue your examination at this point in time, please.
Mr. Stevens, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, growing up in the area that you grew up in, how many law enforcement officers came to you with opportunities for jobs?
None.
How about law enforcement officers who gave you encouragement to lead a better life? Tell the truth.
None.
You mentioned the Honorable Prosecutor, King Slime is something that Jeffrey is referred to as. You remember that?
Yes.
Do you know if that is any way tied to some sort of criminality, that name?
No.
Now, Slime, you mentioned earlier Lil Wayne, remember?
Yes.
And I believe you testified earlier that by listening to Lil Wayne's music in about 2011, 12, I know dates are...
Objection, Your Honor. That's fine.
I'll stay in the question.
I'm not worried about dates. But before you ever used, would Jeffrey, for anybody in that circle, use slime, where did you hear that term?
From the music artist from Wayne.
Okay, for the musical artist, Lil Wayne. Okay. Are you familiar with the song "Look at Me Now"?
Yes.
Do you know it came out in 2011? If you don't, just say I don't know the year.
I don't know the year.
Who sings "Look at Me Now"? The song you know.
Lil Wayne and Chris Brown.
In that song, do you know whether Lil Wayne refers to slime?
Yes.
Is that one of the songs that you adopted? Slime, the use of the word slime.
No, that song kind of new. Well, it ain't that new, but yeah.
It was maybe a different song.
Sustain.
You asked me what song? Oh,
Yeah.
Another question. Do
you remember what song? If you don't, that's fine.
I don't know.
That's fine. Okay. Now, I'd like to show you what I've marked as Mr. Williams number 12. And tell me what you recognize this, okay? You want me to approach?
you think so? You recognize number 12. I didn't mean to throw it.
Yes.
And what is, how do you recognize number 12?
It's an album cover.
And is number 12 depict the way that you understand and you've seen the album cover in the past?
Yes.
Is there anything different about number 12 versus the album cover that you've seen in the past?
No.
And do you recognize the person in number 12, Mr. Williams?
Yes.
And is there any doubt in your mind that number 12 is not accurate of what the album cover looks like that you've seen in the past? So let me ask you a better question. Is number 12 accurate to the album cover that you've seen in the past?
He's doing a different pose, but this from the album cover though.
Okay. Your Honor, I will move for the admission of Mr. Williams number 12.
Any objection to the defendant Williams 12?
No objection.
All right, defendant Williams 12 is admitted, which is you see fit.
Okay, Mr. Stevens, who is that in Mr. Williams number 12?
Jeffrey Williams.
And what color is the garment? What colors are the garment that Mr. Williams is shown wearing in number 12?
White top and blue bottom, sky blue bottom.
And how about the hat?
White top, yeah.
And the hat, and if you answer that question, just say I've answered the question.
Yes.
Okay.
White.
Okay. And how would you describe, if you could describe that garment? Would you say that that's a dress?
Yes.
Okay. And how many entertainers did you know at the time, male entertainers, were wearing dresses on their album covers?
Relevant and relevant.
Formal question. I'll sustain the question.
Did you ever see another album cover with the entertainer in a dress who's a man?
Objection.
Sustained.
How about the necklace? Do you see the necklace or the necklaces on Mr. Williams?
Yes.
How would you describe how many necklaces do you see?
I just know there's several of them.
Okay, that's fine. And would you describe the top two necklaces as tight around the neck?
Yes.
Do you remember which album this is from, the album cover?
Jeffrey. Yeah.
And to your knowledge, did this album, was it widely popular on social media?
Yes.
Are you familiar with whether Jeffrey has children?
Excuse me. My bad. Keep yawning. Yes.
And do you know how many, and tell the ladies and gentlemen jury, how many children Jeffrey has?
I don't know the exact. I think about 5 or 6.
And do you remember growing up calling a location Haiti?
Yes.
Explain that to the ladies and gentlemen jury, what Haiti is.
Set apartments on Cleveland Avenue.
Do you know why it's called Haiti, or why you call it Haiti?
Yes.
Tell the jury.
It was from my understanding of what the actual place Haiti was like. It was my understanding Haiti was like run down.
The country?
Yeah. It was, yeah.
Do you know, did you place on your body a tattoo with the word Haiti?
Yes.
Did we see that earlier when you were being shown pictures of tattoos?
Nah, it's on my leg. No, it's on my leg.
That's fine. Do you know, if you know, is one of Jeffrey's daughters named Haiti?
Yes.
And do you know, if you know, does Jeffrey have his children tattoos names on his
Objection, Ralph.
I sustain the objection. Are you familiar with Jeffrey's tattoos, or some of them? How about on his face?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know whether Jeffrey has Haiti on his face, tattooed on his face? If you know.
No, I think Haiti on his chest.
That's fine. Okay. Jonesboro South. You know Jeffrey to come from there?
Yes.
Okay. Until it was torn down?
Yes.
Does Jeffrey have Jonesboro South, if you know, tattooed on his body?
Yes.
Where would that be, if you know?
Oh, yeah, that's what's on his chest.
Okay.
My bad.
It's okay. So Jonesboro South is tattooed on Jeffrey's chest as far as your memory?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Do you remember there being a McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue at one time?
Yes.
Do you know the address by any chance?
No.
That's fine. Do you know can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, jury, some of the businesses that are around that McDonald's? Well, let's start here and make sure we're talking about the same McDonald's. Do you know the cross streets that McDonald's that you're talking about, to make sure that I'm talking about the same one?
Yeah.
What streets?
At Mount Zion and Cleveland Avenue.
And can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, jury, what stores are near that McDonald's when it was there?
Excuse me. Auto parts store, a gas station, a Church's Chicken restaurant, and a car laundry.
Is that McDonald's, to your knowledge, in business today?
No.
When that McDonald's was operating or in business, when it was open to the public, do you know whether it had any cameras, surveillance cameras? Did you ever notice that?
I'm probably wasn't paying attention to them.
That's fine.
Pretty sure they did all stores I came. Oh, my bad. My bad.
I sustain the objection. You can rephrase, please.
Let me show you What I don't believe is admitted into evidence yet. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may, sir.
May I approach you, Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as Mr. Williams number 1. Put it in the corner. Once I do that, if you take a look at that, just orient yourself to Mr. Williams number 1 and tell me whether you recognize what is shown in Mr. Williams number 1.
Yes.
And is Mr. Williams number 1 accurate as of the time that this photograph was taken, whatever time? Is it accurate as far as what your memory and the surrounding areas that you described to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Objectives to vagueness.
I sustain the objection. You can rephrase the foundation if you can, Mr. Steele.
Is Mr. Williams number 1 accurate of what it depicts or what it shows?
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything from your observations in the past, anything different about number 1 as to the general layout of those buildings and those streets?
No.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams number 1.
Any objection to defendant Williams 1 now?
Your Honor, just ask for a little bit more clarity.
All right. Go ahead.
Mr. Stevens, what time or what year is it that the imagery in defendant's exhibit number 1 reflect? What year is it that you're talking about that it accurately reflects? Do you know?
What year this picture was taken?
Yeah, yes.
No way.
When you were asked by Mr. Steele, does it reflect the year that you remember? What did you understand him to be saying?
I thought he said that this area, I understood him to be saying that this how this area look ever.
Ever?
Yeah.
Okay. At what time did that area look like that?
I remember them remodeling this McDonald's, so since them remodeling this McDonald's, that's how it look.
And around the time, no exact year, just do you have any frame of reference to tell me when they remodeled that McDonald's?
I remember it when they remodeled it and it started looking like that.
All right. Fair enough. Your Honor, I would ask for a little bit more clarity as to the time frame or something, but
Based on more foundation, Mr. Steele, I'm sustaining your objection for the time being.
How about using the October 2014 date? I'm just talking about that arrest that you referred to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
At and before, around that time, is that the way that area looked? Before you were arrested, approximately October 2014.
This McDonald's looked like this before I left for prison.
Okay. And when did you leave for prison, unfortunately?
2015.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of number 1.
no objection.
D1's admitted that it causes you see that.
Sorry. Okay. Now, we are going to use that with another witness, Your Honor, but thank you, sir. With regards to snitch, do you remember the district attorney asking you about a snitch?
Yes.
What that word meant to you?
Yeah.
And you said something to the effect of a person who works with the police. Did you say something
Objection,
like
Your
that?
Honor. Mischaracterization.
I've seen it.
Did you say something like that?
Yes.
Now, to you, since you were asked about by district attorney, does a snitch mean someone who lies?
It could.
And does a snitch mean somebody who was given an incentive? That may be a bad word. Let me change it. Is a snitch someone who benefits by testifying for the prosecution? Is that your understanding of that word?
It could.
You were asked about rat. Remember the district attorney asked you about rat? And if you don't remember, just say, I don't remember.
I thought she said snitch. I know. I thought she just was talking about snitch.
Okay. All right. I want to talk with you. Do you remember being asked questions about something called false flagging? Do you remember something like that?
Yes.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury how you, Mr. Stevens, understand the phrase false flagging. If at all, in any context, the way you understood the question.
I really don't understand what she asked me.
Okay. Have you heard that term before?
Yes.
Do you know, and if you don't know, say fine. It's good. It's all good. It's what you know. Do you know, and can you tell us what false flagging means to you in the context of a supposed criminal street gang? Can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, what you understand it, if at all? And if you say, I don't understand what you're saying, just say, I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm only familiar with it because of like things I done heard. So I don't know if what I heard was true. So
That's fine. Okay. I want to go back to criminal street gang YSL. Okay?
yeah.
You testified to that earlier in your testimony. Remember that?
Right.
All right. To join YSL, is there any type of pamphlet or Bible or rules that you're aware of if somebody wants to be YSL gang?
No.
Do you know whether in order to claim that they're part of YSL, somebody has to be beaten in? Do you know what beaten in means?
Yeah.
You learned that in juvenile detention center,
Yeah.
juvenile jail?
Yeah.
Is there any, to your knowledge, is there any type of requirement that to become a member or an associate of YSL, you have to be beaten in?
No, I know for a fact you don't have to be beat in.
How about to leave YSL, I'm just talking about criminal street gang YSL, that you described earlier. Is there any type of beating out to get out?
No.
Any type of being sex in, maybe a bad term, somebody having sexual relations with a number of people in order to become a member of YSL? Is that anything like that?
No.
How about paying money to enroll? Is there anything like that?
No.
How about paying money to get out of criminal street gang YSL? Anything like that?
No.
Is it true, from your understanding, your experience, in your testimony, that anybody can claim to be YSL?
Yes.
Do you have to know them and approve them?
No.
Do they owe anything to you?
No.
Do they have to come to you and say, I am going to commit a crime and on behalf of YSL? Did anything like that happen?
No.
Okay. With regards to Kenneth Copeland. Woody, remember talking about Woody?
Yes.
If you know, if you don't know, just say, I don't know. Is he from the Cleveland Avenue area?
No.
Do you know what area Mr. Kenneth Copeland or Woody is from? If you know, and if you don't know, just say, I don't know.
I think from Mechanicsville. Or Carver Home, one of them. Carver Homes.
Carver Homes.
Yeah.
And when you say one of them, what was the other one?
Mechanicsville.
Or Mechanicsville?
Yeah.
Some of the jurors may not be familiar with those areas. Just use, if you don't mind, and if you know, use Cleveland Avenue and describe where would Carver Homes be compared to Cleveland Avenue at the time you're talking about, at some time.
Both of those places probably 15-minute driving distance.
From Cleveland Avenue.
Yeah.
And if you know Carver Homes and Mechanicsville, how close are they to each other if you can orient the jurors to that? If you know, and if you don't know, just say it. I'm not sure.
Probably 5-minute drive distance from each other. 5, 7.
You said 5 minutes approximately?
Yeah.
Okay, and you're approximating, right?
Right.
Okay. When is the first time that you remember meeting with Woody? Like, my word would be hanging out with. That may be a bad term, but if you know. If you don't know, say, I don't.
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. Okay, 1 second.
You may, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to show you what I will mark it's Mr. Williams' number. I believe I'm up to 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. Give me 1 second. Yes. Can I ask Mr. Kokomo to approach, if you don't mind, with your computer, if you don't mind? You show the DM. You show the DA because they're not in color at one all the way through this one,
Excluding this one.
including.
Excluding.
I'll mark it. Thank you. Starts at sure and goes consecutive. Thank you. That's why I asked them to show you on.
This is 20. Well, they don't like to do the price. But they're in color. Like the shorts in this way.
Your Honor, may I approach with Mr. Kokomo, Mr. Stevens?
You may, sir.
Mr. Stevens, may we approach you? I'm just showing you.
I asked that they not publish the jury. I know he's not doing it intentionally, but Mr. Kokomo has the face of the jury.
I'm just showing you what's been marked as Mr. Williams number 24 and 29. But these are not colored. That's why I asked Mr. Kokomo to come up. So you could use them for the numbers. But the screen, Mr. Kokomo, would be accurate. Exhibit I'm going to ask you about, okay?
26. 27. 28. 29.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kokomo. Mr. Stevens, I'm just going to go in order if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You need to see the color again. Just let us know. Number 24 that's in front of you in black and white. Mr. Williams, number 24. Do you recognize that exhibit?
You asked me, do I know who it is? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know who's in that, who's depicted or shown in that exhibit?
Yeah. Yeah.
And do you have any reason to believe from the computer screen, because that's really the exhibit, that there's any alterations to that, or is it accurate in what you know 24 to be?
Yeah.
I object to the form of that question regarding the computer screen being the basis for the accurate foundation is the question that I'm.
I'll stand as the form.
Okay. Is 24 accurate in what it depicts?
Yes.
Based upon your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
And number 25, if you could look at that. Do you recognize number 25 in the person who's in it?
Yes.
And is that an accurate depiction of the person who you are familiar with in number 25?
Yes.
Do you have any reason to believe that there's been any modifications or changes?
No.
And you know that person to look.
No.
Number 26. Do you recognize the person in number 26?
Yes.
And does it accurately reflect the way that person looks in number 26?
Yes.
Have you seen these photographs before, by the way?
Free will.
Okay. We're going to go by numbers. Let's just get through 29. Is 29, you looking 29? Number 29, you recognize the person in that picture?
Yeah.
And does it accurately reflect the person who you know on that picture?
Yes.
You can identify that person?
On 29?
Yes, sir.
Which person? There's a couple people on 29.
Okay. Do you recognize any of the people in 29?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recognize all the people in 29?
No.
All right. Which numbers, and just use the numbers, do you recognize, have seen before, and that there's no alterations to any of the pictures?
Objection as to compound.
That's the same question.
Which numbers, and you could go one by one, starting 24, do you recognize that you've seen before and it's accurate in the depiction?
Objection as to vagueness. Which numbers do you?
That's the same question, Mr. Steele. Let's be kind of clear. Why don't you just take them through like one at a time? Like I start out with defense 24.
Mr. Stevens, look at this, Mr. Williams, number 24.
Yeah.
Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Have you seen that photograph before?
Yes.
Anything material or immaterial, meaning little, that has been changed in number 24?
No.
All right. I move for the admission number 24, Your Honor.
Any objection to the defendant Williams 24 now?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd ask to approach.
All right, come on up, please. As promised, it's almost 1:40. So, and since I know you all haven't had lunch and we had kind of a busy schedule, we're going to go ahead and stop for the day. So, where's Mr. Stevens? Mr. Stevens? We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:30, okay? Don't discuss testimony of anybody except the attorneys in this case, okay? Thank you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to recess for today, and as I just mentioned earlier, we will start up tomorrow morning. If you all could be here for 9:30, and we'll start sometime between 9:30 or a little after 10, and then we'll have kind of a similar day that we had today, and then that will complete our week, okay? And then I'll give you more instructions, but you know about next week, and then we'll be on administrative time next week. Give you some time to kind of take care of some other things you may need to. So, okay. Any questions of me before I give you my admonitions?
I have one question.
I was just asking just to be kind, but what does he want to tell me? Do you want to ask me that?
You got the schedule for kind of prediction what January would look like a month in advance?
Yes.
Any kind of projection for February or March yet?
Not quite, but I'm working on it. But as soon as I let you know, I'll give you as much notice as I can, consistent with what I did last time, okay? All right, anybody else? Okay, we holler notepads, we good with those?
Yes.
Okay, how about juror stickers?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just let us know. We know people. They'll be replenished. How are your headquarters back there? You good? Okay, all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, just remember the admonitions I've given you to cover you and apply to you. Please don't discuss your test. Please don't discuss anything that you've heard in the four walls of this courtroom as you go out, as you go home, as you are at rest. And please don't let anybody else try and approach you and talk with this case in any way. If they should, of course, you know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to let Sergeant Ingram and myself know immediately. But ladies and gentlemen, again, we appreciate your patience, and we appreciate the patience you're continuing to give, and will continue to give this matter. So unless you have anything else of me, we'll go ahead and recess, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for 9:30. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all rise. Remember, leave your notepads in the basket. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Our jury has left us. Any other inquiry with me, counsels?
Not from the state, Your Honor.
All right. Hearing none, then, ladies and gentlemen, if I could get you all to advocates to be here tomorrow for 9:30, we'll go ahead and get started somewhere around the 10 o'clock hour. And I would just ask you all respectfully, in terms of Zoom access, since we had the situation this morning, please be very judicious and don't give out this link to anybody else. I would, because that just interferes with our ability to conduct these proceedings in a respectful and responsible manner. So please don't unless you get prior authorization from the court. And so unless people identify themselves or clearly let Mr. Kearns know who they are, we will not admit you. So you might want to make sure that your proper name and your Zoom identifier is given to him so that we can properly admit you. All right. Unless you have anything else, if you could bring your electronic devices up, and then Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams and Ms. Love, our conversation earlier about the electronic devices, I'll include that as the next court exhibit in order. And is there anything about our conversation that we need to place on the record other than my cautions to as to other electronic devices being utilized?
I don't think so.
Okay. And I'll just remind everybody else, remember, your clients are not to have electronic devices while they're, phones in particular, while they're in here. We already had a problem with that once already. So please do not let your clients have those devices while they're here in the courtroom or we're here, okay? All right. Okay, unless there's anything else, then we're in recess. All right, see you all tomorrow morning, 9:30. All right.